been doing a lot of the polling, projecting victory for Dr. Bawumia in this particular election coming off on January 31. Good evening to you, Musa Dankwa, if you can hear me.
Good evening.
All right, and thanks for joining us. We'll also be joined via Zoom by Eric Amwako Chum. He's a spokesperson, Dr. Brian Acheampong campaign. He will join us later via Zoom. And as the program progresses, Dr. Palgrave Bwachidankwa, spokesperson, Security and Intelligence, Kennedy Acheampong campaign team will also join the conversation. So let's kickstart this whole conversation a while. We saw that peace pact that your party signed, and even just some few days after, we've seen the fallout. Will you say that your party is ready, is united, and will remain united even after the race on Saturday?
Thank you so much. Good evening to our cherished viewers, and good evening to Uncle Musa Dankwa. And thank you so much for the opportunity. I think, yes, the Peace Pact is not a new thing. In 2023, we signed the same Peace Pact. And this is also an exercise that is very necessary, so that at least all the aspirants will have to sign to a very peaceful process, so that at least the audience, those in the constituencies, will know that indeed they are not fighting, but rather is just a choice of who leads the party. We're one family, and after that we have to come together. So it's a very good exercise. Fallouts, I don't think there is anything untoward after the signing of the pact. The only thing is that everyone will want to give a commentary, one commentary or the other. And you could tell that it came from two of the aspirants. The three didn't even speak about what happened over there. It is between Brian Acheampong and Kennedy Acheampong. When Brian tried to say that he had to cool down Kennedy Acheampong also said that, well, he had to read before he signed and so on, the drama and so on. But this is part of the process, and definitely I think it's an exercise that will help us a lot, especially those in the constituencies and the regions. They see the five aspirants coming together under the same roof and shaking hands and joining their hands together. Especially, I am even happy to see the way Dr. Bawumia was sandwiched between all the five. He was in the middle. It means he's coming to, at least after winning, he will bring everyone together so that we'll be able to forge ahead in unity.
Dr. Brian has said he had to cool down tensions between Dr. Bawumia and Kennedy Acheampong.
No, he cooled. He said he had to cool Kennedy Acheampong,
which suggests that there is some form of tension.
Dr. Bawumia was calm, collected, and with a straight face. He was not very much talking. When you saw him even talking, he was talking to Adichum, who was on his right-hand side. So if there is any tension, then maybe because he spoke to Kennedy Acheampong, we saw him engaging Kennedy Acheampong a lot more. So maybe that is when you will say that indeed he knew what transpired between them. Kennedy also did not really come out to say that indeed Brian had to cool him down. He only said that, well, Brian had to even sign on
his portion.
And even though Brian has come out to say that it's not true, he has signed on his portion. The drama that came, the spokesperson coming out to say that, well, they did not receive it, they are seeing it for the first time, only for the elections committee to come and say that they gave it to them earlier and they knew everything in the content. Again, when he said he had to scrutinize because a clause was taken out, that is also not true, because we all saw, the media, you were there, nothing changed. The explanation was only given to him and he signed. So the going out, but you see, this is politics. They will go out and still paint a very good picture of really what transpired there. But everything pointed to the fact that, yes, he was reluctant in signing. They explained to him that there is nothing missing, because if there was something, he wouldn't have signed. And he signed the same document that he refused to sign, only for them to go out to campaign. But we are focused. That's why Dr. Bawumia is not even speaking to what happened there. Ours is that we believe that Dr. Bawumia will win. After winning, he will be able to bring all the four together so that we'll be able to forge in unity to win the elections, inshallah.
And if another, candidate wins, is your candidate ready to accept the results?
Yes.
And
this is a family
same?
context, and all the people who are contesting are NPP members in good standing, and they went through vetting process and they were approved. So any of them, after winning, Dr. Bawumia will be able to do that. In 2023, after he won, he drove to all their houses at night and engaged them, all the 5 people. You understand? So for him, if he is, we know we are winning, losing is not part of it, but in the highly unlikely event someone wins, Dr. Bawumia is ready to work for the party so that we recapture power from this NDC.
All right, so Dr. Palgrave Boakye-Danquah now joins us in studio. Doc, you're welcome.
Thank you very much.
Good to see you again.
It's good to be here.
You're
Happy
looking
New
good.
Year to you. Thank you so much.
Right. So let's clear some of those issues. Did your candidate sign the peace pact? Was there an amendment before he signed? Did he sign at all?
Okay. A very good evening to you, and a very good evening to your listeners and viewers, and to Awal. I haven't seen you in a long time. Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum salam.
I hope you're doing well.
Alhamdulillah.
Wow, it's really good to see you. To state that, let me especially bring greetings from the incoming flag bearer of the New Patriotic Party, the Honorable Kennedy Agyapong. We've just finished a strategic meeting with the National TESCON delegates. Sure. It was such an excellent conversation, and the young people of the New Patriotic Party are poised to vote for Kennedy Agyapong as their next flag bearer. Yes, of course, the processes leading to the 31st January election has been smooth. Let me first commend the Presidential Election Committee for their sterling work and sterling leadership. You are very much aware that the signing of the park is the last process, especially after they had met with the Ghana Police Service to be able to streamline security conversations and how to ensure that there is peace, there's serenity, there are no casualties, there are no chaos, and the police as well to be able to put together their modalities. My candidate and the incoming flag bearer of the New Patriotic Party did sign the pact. Right. However, you are aware, and the national chairman of the party, acting Chairman Bute, is on record to have granted an interview on Top Radio, stating very clearly the issues that happened. And he stated that the draft that was sent had a clause in which intimated that after voting is done on Saturday and counting is being done, it should be done in an open space. And that if whenever there should be any counting that is done in an obscure place, those would be considered invalid. And so when the official document for the pack was given to all the flag bearer hopefuls, the incoming flag bearer of the New Patriotic Party, Kennedy Agyapong, had to peruse it. And he realized that that clause was not there, which is why they had to clarify that they've taken the clause out. It's an omission, apologize to everyone who, especially those that couldn't even recognize that, and stated that they had conversations, if I may, right. Stated that they had conversations with the Electoral Commission and made that statement publicly, even though it was not in the clause, which is why the incoming flag bearer of the New Patriotic Party then decided to amend his signature to it.
But I heard him say on video that he was particularly concerned about that clause that says that no matter what happens, he should accept the results. That's what he didn't accept, that he should accept the result no matter what happens.
I think the outcome of the primaries is already out there. The Ghanaian people are making a very clear decision for the 211,000 delegates that are going to vote on Saturday. Remember that on the 7th of December 2028, we're going to have an overwhelming number of about 18 million people that are going to vote. Yeah. And so 211,000 delegates are taking the responsibility of deciding who the next leader of the New Patriotic Party is, and also making a decision on who the next president of the Republic of Ghana is. And clearly the voices are clear, right up from Wale Wale to Axem, to Ho, to Hohoi, to Kumasi, to Tano, to Bono, to Ahafo, to Bono East, to Western Region, to Western North, to Central Region, Eastern Region, across the length and breadth of this country. You hear the voices of people calling for Kennedy Agyapong. And I mean, no doubt in my mind that the verdict is going to be very clear, that Kennedy is going to be declared as the next flag bearer of the New Patriotic Party. And that election is the results that he's going to accept.
The peace accord says that you are committing that no matter what the result will be, you would accept same and then support whoever emerges winner. Is your candidate ready to accept the results after January 31 and support whoever emerges winner in this election?
My candidate is winning the election.
So
and of course,
in an event he doesn't win, will he accept the result?
Well, there's no event of such because our data is very clear. I mean, we've done our surveys across, we've done our polls across, we've had our conversations with the delegates. Okay, so there's no, for me, there's no ifs and there's no buts because this is an election that is an election for the decision of the New Patriotic Party.
But all the polls we've seen so far,
the 14th of the New Patriotic Party. I don't know which polls you have seen.
And Musa Dankwa is on Zoom. I mean, we've been following Global Info Analytics.
I've realized that Musa Dankwa is on Zoom. Right. There are other polls as well. Right. I don't know whether you've seen polls that Dr. Edu has done. There are a lot of polls that are in the system. And so, I mean, you recall very well that President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo has stated consistently that you should accept the polls of the election day because it's on that election day and the D-Day is important. Every single politician is aware that the D-Day is important. If you make a mistake on the D-Day, you lose votes. But I'm very confident that with the structures that have been put in place, with the campaign that we have exerted over the past 6 to 7 months, I'm in no doubt in my mind that every single Ghanaian who are electoral in terms of the electoral college of 18 million are bewildering the 211,000 delegates of the New Patriotic Party to make a concise decision and elect Kennedy Agyapong as the next flag bearer of the New Patriotic Party #1 on the ballot.
Do you trust the process so far? Do you trust the Presidential Election Committee and the work they have done? Is it transparent? Is it inclusive? Is it open enough so that, you know, you are able to accept the result?
We have keenly followed the Presidential Elections Committee. We have attended every single meeting that we have been called upon. And you recall that they made very strong decisions against proxy, which brings integrity to the electoral processes. They also made very clear decisions along TESCON. We found a lot of anomalies within the processes.
Which you have corrected.
We have corrected very well, and that was led by the youth team of the campaign. And I must commend them clearly because there were a number of people that the Constitution says that TESCON is for students, and TESCON is accredited to institutions. I'm a lecturer at UPSA. There were some institutions that TESCON does not exist, but those institutions found themselves in the ballots. We've been able to clear that, scrutinize it, and we are clear with the confidentiality, with the integrity of the voters register. And I'm aware that I think sometime last week into the latter part of this weekend, the Electoral Commission had already started a printing of the ballots. And we are confident of the processes. We have observed the Presidential Election Committee. They have been integral. We have quizzed them where we had doubts, and it's not just from the Kennedy Agyapong campaign team, it's from a sizable number of the flag bearer hopefuls that are standing. But we are arrowhead of this election.
Right. Let me bring Eric Amoako-Chum. He speaks for Dr. Brian Acheampong. Eric, if you can hear me, I want to get your initial thoughts. How has the campaign process been for you so far? Are you ready? Are you very hopeful your candidate will emerge winner January 31? Eric.
Thank you very much. Good evening to my two brothers in the studio, Palgrave and Awal. And of course, thanks for the opportunity to speak about our campaign.
Right.
Dr. Brian Acheampong's campaign is essentially the only campaign that has been able to traverse the entire country, 276 constituencies, and has actually indeed embarked on a phase 2. As we speak, we are done with Greater Accra, we're done with Eastern Region, we've done a portion of Ashanti Region. We are heading back to Ashanti in a day or two to actually finish that part of the phase 2 of the campaign. And indeed, we are very confident that come Saturday, the 31st of January 2026, victory will be ours. And we are confident so much so on the fact that there's a certain convergence between what the delegates are saying and then what the candidate Dr. Brian Acheampong is espousing the question of unity, discipline, which has been one of the challenges that we've had as a party, if we're being very honest with ourselves in the last few years. And so we are very much confident that the elections would actually go our way. And indeed, it's also shown clearly that when it comes to putting together a campaign and making sure that every single constituency is touched. Dr. Brian Acheampong has been very exemplary in making sure that he has campaigned in every single constituency, and that's something that I believe that should be commended.
Right. So Kennedy Acheampong says that your candidate didn't really pay attention to the details of that peace pact. He actually signed in his stead. Was that what happened?
That's not correct. But I mean, those are things that you can, of course, ignore. I think that particular assertion has been dealt with by one of my colleagues already, and we're not going to go into it. It's very clear that, you see, we've been here before. I mean, in the last primaries in 2023, there were certain fallouts, and those fallouts were never ever really resolved, and it culminated in when the party decided to even go on a thank you tour. That particular thank you tour was unsuccessful by virtue of the fact that there were still high tensions and people were blaming each other and all of those things. And so for us, we have remained focused. We have remained poised that in the final analysis, the most important thing is that as a political party, you go into an election and you have to win that election. And so we're not being distracted by some of these things. The reality is that we're keeping our eyes on the ball, and come Saturday, I think that the results would actually show clearly that there's certain convergence of purpose between the party rank and file and the campaign of Dr. Brian Acheampong.
You are very confident your party would remain one united group after the election?
Yeah, I mean, because it has to be. I mean, like I said, I even started my commentary by saying hello to my brothers in the studio. I mean, Firegrave is a brother, Awal is a brother, and we are all supporting different candidates. And that does not mean that these long-standing relationships are relationships that we are going to allow to be damaged by virtue of the fact that we have supported different candidates in this particular internal process. And I believe strongly, like my candidate has said, that for every consummate Democrat, accepting the outcome of results and also being a team player is one of the hallmarks of any consummate Democrat. And he has indicated clearly that even though he believes clearly and he believes strongly that he's going to emerge victorious, he's still grounded by the fact that as a political party, we all have to unite behind whoever emerges victorious. And we are confident that that particular individual would be Dr. Brian Acheampong. But the principle of staying united, I think that is something that should be lost on us. And we by virtue of even our relationships, and we'll be able to demonstrate that post-primaries.
All three of you are confident that your candidates will win the election. Let's listen to what the polls are saying. Musa Danquah is Executive Director of Global Info Analytics. So Musa, you released that poll on January 23. Anything has changed so far, or you are still sticking to those polls? Musa.
Hello, can you
Sure,
hear me now?
sure, we can hear you now. Yeah.
Yes. No, the poll was completed on the 23rd. That was Friday, and they were weekly tracking poll dating back from 29th December until Friday. And we are very certain or confident that even if there will be changes, it will not be significant to distort the outcome of the results.
So can you just give us a summary of that poll so we make some progress?
Right. Let me really start from the key areas of the survey. One is the belief by the delegates that a candidate that is presented again or for the second time tend to help the party. We ask them whether they share the view that a candidate who is given a second chance helps the party to win the election. This question is very important because we want to see whether there is kind of consensus within a delegate about this notion, because we've seen Bawumia really hammer on this campaign, and we've seen Kennedy trying to rebut it over a period of time. At the moment, 45% of delegates believe that yes, it helps the party's chances in the next election if a candidate is repeated. But 23% disagree, and 32% have no opinion. This number had been high before. In the past, it was around 52, but it has declined over time to 45 now. It's still pretty high. Now, if you look at the favorability rating, how favorable do you see a candidate? And here, all the delegates were asked to rate all the candidates that we have in the race. At the end of the day, Bawumia got 93%, followed by Brian Acheampong, 86%, Kennedy, 85%, Kwabena Agyei-Agyepong, 85%, and Adu Twum, 83%. Now, if you look at the favorability rating, the trend analysis, you will see that from 2nd January, Bawumia was 92.5. And by the time we finish the poll, he's gone to 94.6. He has climbed slightly, but over the average period, it's about 93%. Kennedy, on the other hand, started the week or the period with 85.3, declined 85.3, declined to 84.8, and declined again 84.4, and then made a bit of recovery to 85.4, back to the previous position that he was. Brian Acheampong, on the other hand, started from 83.7. He went to 85.9, 86.9, and 89.9. You could see that he is the only candidate that in the last 4 weeks appeared to have gotten momentum, increasing by a very big margin. Now, when we ask them about the qualities that they are looking out for, which would influence who they vote for, about 23% of the delegates said they look for somebody who can win the election for MPP. So that is very important, 23%. 17% said they're looking for somebody who can or who will care for the grassroots, 17%. And 16% are looking for those or somebody who can bring change in the party and indeed in the country. Another 16% look for someone who can unite the party. Unity is very important for them. And then for 11%, they were saying that they're looking for trustworthy, who can be trustworthy. And then humble, 8%, and then a fighter, 2%, with other factors accounting for 7%. So these are the things they mentioned or that they selected, which would in the end influence the way they are going to vote. Now, when we ask them, who will they vote for in the election coming? 48% of the sample said they intend to vote for Bawumia. 25% said they would vote for Kennedy. 6% said they would vote for Brian, and 1% Adu Twum, and near zero for Kwabena Agyei-Agyepong. However, about 21% the delegate said, even though they have made up their mind, they won't tell us their voting intention.
Right.
So this is the headline numbers as we give up. Now, if you aggregate this data into the regions, you will also find that Bawumia is leading in 14 out of the 16 regions. The regions is trailing behind is Central region, where Kennedy is leading, and again, Volta region, where Kennedy is leading. Now, if you ask them about unlikely scenario of runoff, who would you vote for? Then you realize that Bawumia moved from 48% to 51%. And Ken moved from 26%, from 25 to 26%. And those who are not disclosing go up from 21 to 23%. Why has Bawumia crossed 51% here? He upped his numbers by 3%, but Kennedy went up by 1%. It shows that majority of the people voting for the other candidates in the runoff would vote for Bawumia.
Okay.
That's why Bawumia went up by 3%, but Kennedy went up by just 1%. Now, we also did what we call neighbors effect. Sometimes when people are not talking about their true intentions, you tend to find another way to get into their heads. Here, what we did was to do what we call neighbors effect. In the neighbors effect, we asked them who do they think that their friends delegate will be voting for, because they'll be having conversation with, among themselves. And they are telling us that 62% of their friends they believe would vote for Bawumia, and 32% for Kennedy, 5% for Brian, and 1% for Brian, Dr. Edichum. Even though they won't tell you what they want to do, some of them, but they are eager to tell you what their friends are doing. And that gives you another angle to look at the race from a different perspective. Now, it is very important to look at how delegates were voting based on the qualities they mentioned. So, for example, those who said they are looking for someone who is humble, who do they prefer? Those who mentioned humble as key to them, Bawumia gets 67%, Ken 21%. Those who said trustworthy, Bawumia gets 45%, Ken 32%. Those who said a fighter, Ken gets 62%, Bawumia gets 25%. And those who said somebody who can bring a change, Bawumia on 51%, Ken on 26%. Those who want someone who can care for the grassroots, Bawumia 42%, Ken 30%. Those who want someone who can win, Bawumia 47%, Ken 24%. And those who want a candidate that can unite the party, Bawumia 45%, Ken 16%. And for those who mention other factors, Bawumia 45% and Ken 11%. So if you look at all the kind of qualities that we have illustrated, Bawumia leads in all of them except the fighter. And finally, based on all the information that we know, where do we think the race will end up on the election day? After polls have been closed or are closed, what do we think the outcome will be? And this is what we call our predictions, based on the data, the baseline polling numbers, and other information that we have. We believe that Bawumia will likely be on 57%, plus or minus 30% margin of error. Kennedy will be on 28%, plus or minus margin of error of 3%. And then Brian Champon is doing 13%, even though the headline poll suggests that he's going to he was getting 6%. Why has he moved from 6% to 13%? If you go back to the favorability rating, you could see that he was the only one who was going up in a very good quantum leap every week. And that has translated into possibility that he will snag some vote from Kennedy. And then we have Dr. Edichum on 2%. What we have seen is that Brian and Kennedy kind of have the same vote from the same area. And for that reason, when Brian goes up, Kennedy comes down. If Kennedy goes up, Brian will come down. So that's the relationship that we have seen. My expectation is that with the Bawumia's numbers, I'm very confident. But with Brian and Ken numbers, it depends upon how they trade the vote. And I cannot be certain exactly what will happen on election day.
So you're confident Dr. Bawumia would be the flag bearer of the MPP after
Yes.
January 31?
Yes.
So with a prediction model, you have now added those who did not disclose to you who they were going to vote to. Is that correct?
Correct.
And why is Ken doing well in the voter region? What's the trick?
Well, remember, he won voter region last time.
Sure.
And voter region has not been very good for MPP as a party. And anybody who is seen as an insurgent within MPP tends to get the vote from the voter region.
And what is making Brian Acheampong favorable over the week since you monitor? What exactly is he doing right?
You know, the last week, I can speak about the last week. But before I touch on that, I think people see him as a potential future for the MPP beyond Bawumia and Kennedy. Surprisingly, he's doing a bit well in the northern regions. So we want to see on the election day how he performs in the northern regions. He's doing a bit better than Kennedy in the northern regions. But what I can remember vividly is last week. Last week, I think there were some videos of what Ken that went viral. I don't think the delegates took that video very kindly. From that point, we saw that Kennedy was dropping in the poll on a daily basis, and those numbers were going to Brian. As I mentioned earlier, if Kennedy goes down, the number doesn't go to Bawumia, it goes to Brian. And if Brian goes down, then the number will go to Kennedy. So what will happen is that if Brian is able to hold his leg, I think he will really surprise Kennedy, and probably will be the one that will surprise the race at the end of the day.
All right, thank you very much, Musa Danquah. You just want to stay with us as the program rolls on. Doc Boakye Danquah, I mean, so you heard from Musa Danquah. Your thoughts?
Well, I just want to say that my brother Musa Danquah will be surprised on Saturday. And I'm just coming from the northern sector. In fact, I just arrived. And I'm yet to actually even present my survey polls to the incoming flag bearer, Kennedy Acheampong. But what I can say is that based on the delegates I have engaged in the 5 northern regions, from northeast to upper east to upper west to northern region and savannah, the surprise of the Fourth Republic is about to happen when Kennedy is declared as the flag bearer of the New Patriotic Party. I have in my hand some surveys.
Musa Danquah has some credibility.
Oh, of course, I don't doubt that. No, I don't doubt that. I cannot even touch the white garment of Musa Danquah. Not at all. Sure. Can't even think about it. Sure. Not at all. I mean, his name goes ahead of him. But then other people also enter into the survey environment, research environment, and also make their name. Okay, Musa started somewhere, and so today he's at another place. Some people also will start pulling with the New Patriotic Party flag bearership election of 31st January 2026, and also make a name. Okay, so I'm glad my brother Awal laughs about it, because you see, there are 3 waves of surveys that has been done by a young man that I have here. I've read Musa Danquah's on Dr. Evans Dua, and it's intriguing to look at a few things that he started doing from August 2025. The first wave, which was a baseline that captured a few things. The second wave, where he looked at September to October 2025, which was a mid-cycle, and he did a third wave, which was October 20th to January 9, 2026, where he exited the polls. He did a total delegate conversation of about 204,893 as at October 25th, and sampled about 40,988 delegates, about 20% of the population. I mean, some non-respondent is about 23%. And this data is intriguing, and I would like to state it because I've studied that. I have confidence of the data of the day of the turnout of the election based on the number of people who would come and vote, based on the people who would vote for number 1 on the ballot, based on the counting, and based on the declaration. Right. But let me put this across.
But, so you do not doubt the figures from Musa Dankwa. You don't doubt.
He shared.
You are expecting a surprise.
Yes,
a surprise.
A surprise on him.
Okay.
Yes, I mean yes, because of course he's put in a lot of work to be able to arrive at this. Okay. The only challenge is that Musa Dankwa's survey doesn't seem to have Dr. Bawumia declining anywhere. I mean, because he says that when Brian drops, it affects Kennedy. When Kennedy drops, it affects Brian. I mean, so it's like Bawumia there in the constantly there, like nothing changes it. But that's very interesting in surveying. But that's not a place I want to go into. Maybe at a later stage he can be able to look at it. But let's look at this, okay, in terms of regional balance. And I think that is very key for understanding. Ashanti region, okay. The data shows that Dr. Dia surveyed about 35,756 delegates, and Kennedy is at 15,742. Dr. Mahmoud is at 14,275, which is like Kennedy is leading with an extra 1,000. Dr. Brian Acheampong is at 1,803. Dr. Yoedutrum is 1,453. Kwabena Agyapong is at 72, undisclosed about 1,152, undecided.
So that survey says that Ken.
Well, I mean, if you want me to just jump onto the percentages, I can easily do that. Yes, let me just do that because of time. That's fine. You gave Musa a lot of time. I mean, you don't want to give me that margin of time.
Because of what?
It's not a problem. Kennedy Agyapong, worst case scenario, this is the prediction of Dr. Dia, okay, Dr. Evans Dia. Worst case scenario, Kennedy Agyapong is 96,450 at a percentage of about 47%. Okay, that's worst case scenario. Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, worst case scenario, 73,607 at a percentage of 35.93%. Dr. Brian Acheampong, 16,842 at a percentage of 8.22%. And Dr. Yoedutrum, 4,000 at a percentage of 1.95%. Kwabena Agyapong, 1,000 at a percentage of 0.45%. And the best case scenario for the election that we are having on Saturday, Kennedy Agyapong, best case scenario is 107,751%, 51,000 votes. And that gives him a percentage of 52.59%. That makes him the winner of the election, and so shall it be. Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia gets 74,000, okay, 257, which means he has appreciated by an extra 1%, which gives him 36.24%. And then Dr. Brian Acheampong, 8.6%, Dr. Yoedutrum, 2.05%, and Kwabena Agyapong, 0.52%. But like, I want to conclude on this. I mean, you have to remember that, you see, one of the things that numbers tells us, okay, it tells us who is ahead. But, you know, strategy decides who stays ahead. And for me, from today through to Monday, to Wednesday, to Tuesday, to Wednesday, to Thursday, to a day before, 24 hours before we vote, there are a lot of significant changes that will happen. And I can tell you that the strategies that we've been able to put in place, Kennedy is the arrowhead of this election and is winning.
All right, so Musa Dankwa says your candidate's 57%, which puts him way ahead in the race. Does that tally with, I mean, what you guys have been doing in your strong room?
Yes, so you don't need any data anywhere to tell you that Dr. Bawumia is ahead. With every parameter or any measuring rod you use, you know that Dr. Bawumia stands tall. Everything favors him. Consistency favors him. History favors Dr. Bawumia. And again, the character of the candidate favors Bawumia. I am happy that Musa Dankwa used a lot of these measuring rods to really test the data across the country. And I am happy that indeed, if you read his data, he said he did 272 constituencies across the country, and he's firm with his conclusion that indeed Dr. Bawumia will win. Dr. Bawumia the last time had 63%. So 57, we are looking at not less than 70% of the total votes, because you see, if you look at someone who is closer to the grassroots, Dr. Bawumia stands tall. This is someone who has been doing party work in these constituencies for the last 18 years. He has entered every constituency not less than 6 times to work with the delegates. So that is very, very key. So there is some closeness with the grassroots, and that's the reason wherever you pass, you see that indeed Dr. Bawumia stands tall. Again, they are looking at someone who will win us the elections. That's very important, because if you look at the history of the Fourth Republic, nobody has been able to win on a first attempt. Kufuor did on a second attempt, Mills 3 times, Akufo-Addo 3 times. Even Mahama, after winning the first time as second president, going into his second term, he had to be on the ballot 3 times before. And again, when you check the history too, the person who is president always hand over to the person who had contested him before. Kufuor, Rawlings handed over to Kufuor, who contested him in 1996. Then Kufuor handed over to Mills, who contested him twice. Mills also handed over to Mahama. There was some disruption, but Akufo-Addo, it was Mahama who handed over to him. And now Mahama had handed over, Akufo-Addo handed over to Mahama. So we anticipate, and these are the things that the delegates are saying.
You don't think that the dynamics are different this time around?
It is not, because you see, consistently, you see that when you speak to all the data, it tells you that Dr. Bawumia stands tall. Even in terms of governance and experience, there is no single person in this country that has that experience, even with the NDC, because this is someone who has been vice president for 8 years and has been a running mate for 8 years. So if you're looking at someone who is more experienced in terms of governance, understand how to correct the mistakes of the governance that we had in the last 8 years, he's the best person to do that. Almost all those he's contesting with, when you see the highest they had done is like 3 years or 4 years as cabinet ministers. The rest, some had not even tested any cabinet ministry before, cabinet appointment before. So clearly, what Musa Dankwa is projecting, yes, we appreciate it, but we believe that Dr. Bawumia will get a higher vote than what Musa Dankwa is really projecting. And Dr. Bawumia stands tall, as I said, because over the years, he had worked with each and every delegate, at least if for nothing at all. In 2023, he was with them. And there are delegates who had been on the roll for over 16 years. And these are people who had worked with them in their various constituencies and so on. So the delegates are looking at who will win the elections. We're not looking at someone who will come and market again. The NDC is bringing a new person. The NDC will have to market that person. Now, everything favors them in terms of incumbency advantage. So now, if you have a Dr. Bawumia, all the things that had been said about him had been said already. There's nothing they can say about Dr. Bawumia again. Again, he is not a new person who will really be introduced to any Ghanaian again. He will not do any outdooring and so on. So consistently, after these elections, he will only arrange his message, put the party together, we go in unity, and we win the 2028 elections easily.
Let me bring Eric back to the conversation. I'm sorry we've kept you waiting. And so the polls from Global Info Analytics, 13% for your candidate. I've heard him say confidently that he's going to win this election. 13% is what Musa Dankwa is projecting.
Well, I mean, like we've consistently maintained, for every serious contender, you definitely would have to commission your own research, and this is something that we've done. We are very confident in the work that we've done thus far, and so yes, you would not discount any research that has been done by anybody. Like in all seriousness, you would look at that, and if you have to do a comparison and look at certain areas and even the parameters that they are talking about, you definitely would do that. But we are very confident that come election day, like even the surprises that he's talking about, I mean, I think that he's even making allusions to the fact that there's been a groundswell of support, and the candidate has shown consistently over the weeks that he's doing well. So even in his own polls, it states clearly that the candidate is polling much better than he actually is saying. But we are confident. I mean, and like I indicated, we've done our own work. We believe that our work is even stronger than what has been done because we have had an opportunity to interact with all the 209,000 delegates. And we do our own weekly surveys consistently, and we're able to extrapolate that and look at it from our own internal infrastructure. And so, yes, we would respect Musa Dankwa and any other research that's been done. But like Pargrave alluded to, the real polls is actually on election day. And I mean, you're as good as the strategy that you put together on election day. And I mean, everybody who has followed the politics will tell you that the last 48 hours into our election is actually the real deal. Because, of course, I mean, granted, every candidate had gone round and done their campaign. They believe in the systems and the structures that they have put together. But the strategy is what would actually will bring out the winner. And we believe strongly that in terms of our grand game, in terms of the systems that we put in place, in terms of whatever it is that we are going to demonstrate on the day, would sway the elections into our favor. And we are confident. And so, yes, I hear this thing about a candidate being marketed a lot. And I mean, from my marketing background and all of that, sometimes it smacks of a little bit of, if you like, being charitable. It's a very banal, you know, because in the final analysis, you go to the market based on a demand on what the people are looking for. So you can flog a product as much as you want. If that's not what the market wants, it doesn't really make any difference. And so the reality is that the market is where the country, the Ghanaian people are looking for a leader who definitely move us from our current economic trajectory into something totally different, transform the economy, adopt the technology that would be able to be used to solve our everyday problems and all of that. And you have a candidate who has a PhD in information systems, who has already demonstrated by his foray into that particular space by developing softwares that's being used in the insurance industry, in the banking sector, public payroll systems. And that is there for everybody to feel and touch. And who has also been able to demonstrate in the hospitality space and in the real estate space, clear, bold infrastructure that he has built that is there for everybody to appreciate. And that's what the Ghanaian people are looking for. So you go to the market with what the market demands. It is not the other way around. I mean, that is like basic 101 marketing, where you do your research, you're able to find out exactly what the market needs, and then you give it to them. Now, even as a political party, everybody is talking about apathy during the last 8 years, and the party people themselves being disgruntled and expressing disquiet because of certain happenings within the party. So you want somebody that will be able to rally the party, bring the party together, unite the party, instill discipline where you have issues with persons who are regional chairman, party executives, constituency executives, chairman, actually taking the law into their own hands, going into certain areas that they are not supposed to. And even when discipline is being applied, it's being selective. You have people going on radio and TV and openly flouting directives coming from national executives and even refusing to even attend disciplinary proceedings and all of that. We've all seen that. You can't go into any election, for that matter, with a party that has challenges with discipline. And that's what Dr. Brian Acheampong is preaching. And even the whole conversation around unity. And it's quite instructive that my brother Awal wanted to make allusions to two candidates. I mean, I'll speak for my candidate. I mean, we have Samuel Oku going on record to have said that, I mean, the former vice president was unhappy and was unhappy with certain happenings, even by virtue of the work that has been done by the the Presidential Election Committee. And so it's quite interesting that he comes out to make it look like the people or candidates has particular issues and they are the ones who are actually unhappy. And that's the reason why you even have to commend the Presidential Committee for putting together a program like that, so that if people have challenges, they have last-minute issues with whatever the process has given us, they'll be able to bring that out, resolve before we go into the election. Because we believe strongly that this whole idea, this call for unity is not just an event, but it's a process. And the processes leading up to the election itself and then post-election is what is going to make the unity that we are all clamoring for come into fruition. For example, I mean, it requires the magnanimity of the winner. And in this particular case, we believe that Dr. Brian Acheampong is going to win, but he has to be magnanimous enough to bring all the other persons together. But even the losers as well have to have a certain orientation to accept the fact that the MPP is bigger than everybody, like was alluded to by the former President Akufo-Addo, saying that the party is bigger than anybody. So even if you have personal challenges and you have issues with the process, once we've come together and we've all agreed in principle that we are going to be bound by these rules, you have to necessarily stick by it. Otherwise, then you're not a team player, and a political party is not set up to sort of please or, if you like, operate to the whims and caprices of persons, regardless of who you are. It is supposed to be a collective. And there are certain decisions that might be taken that you might be unhappy about, and you'd have to stick by it. And in principle, if you're so much opposed to that particular regulation or principle, you might probably be in the wrong political party. So we are strong in our minds that, I mean, the committee has done a brilliant job. We believe that the processes have been fair, and we are poised for the elections on Saturday.
Thank you very much, Eric. So a quick one as we begin to wrap up.
Yes, so you see, Sammy Awuku did not go to say that indeed he was unhappy because of the processes. Yes, there are some issues that Dr. Bawumia is not happy about, and this is public. The issue of proxy. People who are party people, we go to them in Europe, we mobilize resources from them and so on. And we are saying that we will not allow them vote. You understand? So
Dr. Bawumia, that was a collective decision.
I'm saying that Dr. Bawumia's camp is not happy with this because we wanted them to come and vote. That is one. Two is that he's unhappy because of the needless attack on his person. You saw the video, which Musa Dankwa alluded to, that he did. Kenneth Acheampong opened up a video, recorded a video, used lies to stand on the lies to attack him. You understand? So why will he be happy?
But
when he said he was unhappy,
but that platform really was to make peace.
Yeah, it was to make peace.
So once you show up at that platform,
yes,
you should be ready for peace.
But Dr. Bawumia was there, and his demeanor and everything did not point to the fact that he was not really a happy person. He came. He exchanged pleasantries, almost all of them, and so on. So that is one. Two is that on apathy. You see, that is one of the reasons Dr. Bawumia, I said that Dr. Bawumia is the only one who, in terms of governance, will be able to really bring governance closer to the people. One of the reasons we recorded apathy in especially our strongholds has to do with the fact that there was a yawning gap between the party and government. So that is the reason Dr. Bawumia is saying that if he is elected as the leader of the party and subsequently become president of Ghana, you do 10 appointments in every constituency. You give the constituency the opportunity to present 10 people so that if there are issues of resources and so on, you know the 10 people that you submitted to be, maybe one is a minister, one is a DCE and so on. So there will be some closeness between the party and the government, because there was a yawning gap between the party and the government, and that was the reason. So I think that, yes, Dr. Bawumia, when I say he's the most marketed person, in elections, you market your candidate. Just recently, there is a video being circulated on social media. In a JHS, the teacher asked the students, who is the vice president of Ghana? About 10 of them, they all said Dr. Bawumia. This is just about a month or 2 months ago. So it tells you that the man is the most popular person in this country today. And when you have the most popular person, and you had a lot of issues that mitigated against you in the last elections, coupled with the fact that Dr. Bawumia, that was the first time he was contesting an election, general elections. He contested against someone who has been on the ballot 4 times, 2012, 2016, 2020, and the 2024. So clearly you could tell that the history of the Fourth Republic that says that the person who has been consistent on the ballot tend to really get the favor from the general Ghanaian electorate. Dr. Bawumia at that time.
So you're seeking to win election 2028. What will you say to those who say that if Dr. Bawumia becomes your flag bearer, he will not, confidently be able to lead that economic conversation because he failed to deliver the economy when he was vice president, head of the economic management team, and also because we have seen some relative improvement in the Ghanaian economy. So yes, Dr. Bawumia is marketed, as you said, but then when he becomes flag bearer, he will not be able to lead that economic conversation charge. What will you say?
That's an egregious lie. The economy that we handed over to this government, we didn't hand over a junk economy to them. Again, our sterling performance for 6 years, we had consistent 7% growth of the of GDP. You understand? So, in the dying embers of our governance, we had issues, and the issues came, and that was the reason. But if you tell me that the economy that was able to support about 50 hospitals completed and being occupied, 3 senior high school, over 300 ambulances and so on. And you're telling me that we handed over an economy that we cannot speak to that economy. We had an economy
an economy where we were locked out of the international capital market.
That is the last 2 years of the economy. Again, when you even check what this government is doing today, compared to 2017, how many taxes did they remove on our tax bracket? They removed 3. We removed 17 in 2017. In 2017, around this time, we had recruited 30,000 teachers and nurses. Today, there is no single nurse or teacher that has been recruited. In 2017, we inherited an economy of 3.5% GDP growth and moved it to 9.2 in 2017.
It was actually 4.5.
I'm saying that 9.2, 3.4.
I'm saying you inherited a 4.5.
We did not inherit a 4.5. He's here, he can tell you.
We
did not. Okay, so assuming we inherited 4.5, we move it to 9.2.
My brother,
This man, I'm coming.
No, let him wrap up.
We're talking about the economy. Atufosin inherited a 5.7% economy. He grew it to 4.1. So, if you're talking about the economy, Dr. Bawumia will be the best person to talk about the economy because today, Metromas is saying that the tap and go that he launched in 2024 is the reason they have moved from 8 million in terms of their resources, the generation of their resources, to 17 million. So Dr. Bawumia is out of government, but the things that he had done, at least with the little opportunity given to him by President Akufo-Addo, it is still things that the Ghanaians are really benefiting from. So he will talk about the economy. Just after 31st, when we bring everyone together, you see him lead the church to talk about the economy and give alternative policies. Don't forget that he was not the president of Ghana and he was not in charge of the day-to-day administration of the economy. The economic management team was an advisory committee. Just like recently, the president had unveiled an advisory committee. So if there is something, if there is a failure or there are challenges, you don't hold Kwame Pieni and others to account. It is the collective government that you hold them to account. And
Right.
Dr.
So
Bawumia will be able to really lead the charge on the economy and be able
We'll be
to
wrapping
do
up.
this.
He says that his candidate
No, it's fine.
well marketed,
Let him speak for his
and
candidate.
so we should vote for him,
You know,
not your candidate.
When you are bruised and you are hurt and you have a sore either on your leg or your back, and the nurses keep dressing it, and every now and then you are being reminded someone is pressing it, you begin to cry. You begin to cry. My brother, for what we have experienced We have an overwhelming number of 6 million Ghanaians who are sympathizers of the New Patriotic Party. We have an overwhelming number of 211,000 delegates that are going to make a decision. Okay, let's do the mathematics.
No, we don't have so much
don't
time.
worry. The
We don't have so
biggest
much
challenge
time.
that is facing this country is unemployment. Since 1957 till date, government after government have tried their best. Canada Japan is the solution to unemployment, to incrementally create jobs that are sustainable, because Ghana has become a heavy-driven political country. We need to have this country as a heavy-driven business country, where we have young entrepreneurs having an opportunity to think outside the box, to be innovative, so that we can be able to solve the level of unemployment.
But some have said he's temperamental, he's hot-headed, he can't be president.
We have given an opportunity to the delegates over the period of 6 to 7 months. I don't think that the verdict out there says that he's temperamental. I think that Kennedy's passion, Kennedy's enthusiasm,
From Musa Dankwa
Kennedy's,
points to the fact.
allow me to speak, Kennedy's passion, Kennedy's credibility, Kennedy's character. He's been the most credible political figure in this fourth republic since 1988.
Right.
No tag of corruption. He's spoken and fought for his political party. He's given to his political party in opposition and in government. He served in parliament for 24 years, served on significant committees, including defense and interior, including communication, including budget, including local government. His decentralization agenda of redistributing the various ministries across the length and breadth of this country, my brother, is outside the box that
Right.
none of the candidates have thought about.
Thank you very much, Dr.
On
Pagrif
Saturday,
Boachi
I
Dankwa,
can assure you
spokesperson, security and intelligence,
is going to be the
Kennedy Ejapon campaign team. Thank you very much. Awal Mohammed is a member of the MPP and a member of the communications team, Dr. Baumia campaign team on Zoom. We have Eric Amwakuchum. He speaks for Dr. Brian Champon. Thank you very much, Eric. We did not really give you much of the time. Musa Dankwa was executive director, Global Info Analytics. My name is Maurice Ogbete. This is our wrap-up talking point. Have a good evening. See you next week. Bye.
In 1965, Ghana chose her own value. From cowries and pounds, the city was born, our pride in our own hands. It flowed through markets, palms, and memories, and became part of daily life. Through every season of change, the city has remained a constant in Ghanaian life. In 2007, we took a bold step, ushering in a new era of confidence and stability. Today, the city lives in banks, markets, and apps, rooted in tradition, shaped by history, carried by innovation. 60 years on, it remains our heritage, our identity, our pride. Know the city. Keep it clean.
Meet Kwame. He's not just any Kwame. He's Kwame the TV license legend. Kwame knows that by paying his TV license, he's supporting GBC, our public service broadcaster, and he's making a real difference. Kwame's contribution helps bring our communities closer together. Because of Kwame and others like him, we will all have access to amazing TV programs, educational content, plus broadcasting infrastructures are maintained and our culture is beautifully promoted. So GBC is asking all to respond to this civic obligation and pay your TV license.